And here we are. Isn't this lovely? Hey, you know what? I saw 3 foxes yesterday running across the field. They weren't together, they were at 3 different times. They're pretty big foxes, so these must be last year's pups. They were out here in this field. And one of them went over there and disappeared. Another one went over there and then was going up the driveway out in the field. And then there was another one who was in the yard. He was playing and he kept looking in the ground, and I think he was going to the bathroom out there too. But then I think he went back up that way. So I think their den must be up in the rocks. And the only way to find out is to follow the tracks. But we had another dusting of snow, so the tracks are gone. Isn't that terrible? But the dusting would be down in a bit. Like it would be a dent, because their footprints would still be, but they just have a little snow in them. But everywhere else would have new snow on it too. Okay, so what I was going to tell you about is how to prepare for the coronavirus. So, have you given this any thought? I know that the president is downplaying it, that it might just go away. He's had 15 cases and just one person died and we're good. Or maybe nobody died. I don't remember what he said, but anyway. So he has his own view of keeping the people relaxed and not worrying. So, however, the virus is real and it's spreading. So, here are this is what I would say about how to get ready for the virus. First of all, imagine you're sick. You can't get out to the store. First of all, you don't want to get out because there's people out there that are sick and you don't want to get sick and you don't want to give it to anybody. Let's hope that people don't want to give it to anybody. However, so if you're going to be sick with the flu, what do you need in your house? Whatever medications you need for the flu, maybe apple juice in cans. I mean, I don't usually recommend cans. But now, if there are enough well people that still can do things like make sure that the power grid is working and that if lines are down, they get fixed. You know, if there's enough people that aren't sick, then you'll still have power. But if it gets too bad and the people that fix the lines are all sick, you know, there could be power outages. So in that case, I don't know. But that would be a long way down the road. But the supply chains are going to be interrupted. A truck driver can't drive if he's sick. And you get that happening to a lot of people, you know, and then things are coming from places that you don't want to import things from because they've got the virus. And nobody's there to make the stuff. I think China sent people back to work that were sick because they needed things like masks or whatever. The most important thing you can do is wash your hands. I said that before. Some things can be killed with hand sanitizer, but not everything. Like C. difficile does not get killed with hand sanitizer. And it's a big one. It's in the hospital. So, wash with soap and water. And let your water get hot or warm before you wash your hands. You know, touch the tap. Some people don't wash their hands because it's too cold. Like in Canada, it's pretty cold. You don't want to stick your hands under cold water. So maybe when you sit down at the toilet, turn the water on. I mean, you can't do this if you live in areas where you've got bad, very little amounts of water. But, you know, turn on the water, let it warm up. And you touch the top of the faucet to see if it's warm enough. You don't have to put your hand under and get it cold. If it's cold, it gets to your bones. You know, when you get to be a very old lady like me. I haven't gotten old yet. It was very surprising when I saw this cup that said 60 and I realized that number had to do with me now. Now it's 64. I thought that's kind of shocking. Anyway, so you're going to need to have juices and fruits and vegetables. So if you can't, you know, you should put stuff in your freezer so you've got that stuff. You should get honey, but be careful when you get honey. Get raw honey, not pasteurized. That kills the good stuff, right? Pasteurizing always kills the good stuff. the enzymes, which the bees eat and keeps the bees alive. And you get rid of the enzymes, and then you've got, do you know that if you pasteurize milk and you give it to a baby calf, it'll die. It won't survive on pasteurized milk. This is what I've heard. Now, I don't know. Maybe some people can do that, but I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway, it definitely needs the things, but okay. So you're gonna need stuff for when you're sick. You're also going to need stuff to avoid going out to the stores. So you can, if you have an Instant Pot, red lentils are the easiest thing in the world to make. It's like rice. And you can add all kinds of vegetables to it, all kinds of spices. Whatever kind of spices you usually use, you could try using them in that. You could try your savory spices, or you can try your spicy spices, or you can look up recipes. But anyway, so lentils are a really good one. Lentils, pigeon peas, quinoa, rice. And if you eat wheat, then couscous but things that can store, things that are not going to go bad. Canned food is probably pretty good, but you've got the problem with the plastic liner. They changed the BPH to something else that is just about exactly the same, only it's BPA and it's not illegal. Hello from British Columbia. I am doing well, Jennifer Kessler. Nice to meet you. We've met. Those books are crooked. Oh, well, I can't reach them now. So things that store well. Now you can get, like in our church, we've always been told to have a year's supply of food. It's just good practice. So if you've got a year's supply of food, it's not going to matter if you can't go to the store for a month, right? If you've stored enough fruits and vegetables, canned and frozen and dried, and beans, and if you eat meat, whatever you eat, store it. Stock up on supplies. Now, everybody's not going to be out stocking up on supplies because somebody like me already's got everything. Years ago, we put tons of food into big gallon jars and went in the basement and rolled it up under the rafters. We only have a crawl space. There's a video. I showed you what it's like to go down in my food storage. So anyway, things like rice. If you can get rice in the great big bags, I don't know how much they cost now, but it used to be $10 for a huge bag of rice. And rice, you just bring it to a boil and cover it and let it sit for 20 minutes or something like that. So probably, oh yeah, you do, eh? You've been around a while. That was one of my very first ones. The reason it has so many hits is because somebody in AB, which is Alexandria Bay, there was some sort of a flyer online sort of a thing. And I mentioned Alexandria Bay because I was driving back from the United States and went across the border there. And they couldn't get enough of telling me how terrible I was. And so there was a video that they shared. One of them was crossing the bridge. I was saying it's a hop, skip, and a jump. And how far is there really a hop, skip, and a jump? That was a bad one that they didn't like. And then they made fun of the food storage, and they made fun of the blender cooking. And there were a few more, I think. Anyway, I deleted some of them because I didn't want those to be the best videos that were seen, like the most. They weren't reflective of what was on here. Anyway, how did we get on that topic? Anyway, so this was about making little baskets. So out of any little scrap of something, you can make a basket. You can make it with yarn, anything that's fibrous, anything that you can line up beside each other. Like you could probably, I don't know if it's possible. Never tried it, but I wonder if you could weave with pine needles. Like if you ever look up pine needle baskets, it's always this kind. Where is it? Up there. Yeah, that. Where did it go? I can't see. There it is right there. All right, that's your sort of thing for a pine needle basket. Round and round and round. But I wonder if you could line up the pine needles and see if you could do something with that, and then do twining around it to hold it all in place, and then that could even just be the base. You could go up the sides with it. I have 2 bales of long needle pine needles. They sell them in the South in the landscaping shops or everywhere, Lowe's or whatever. You can buy a bale of pine straw, or you can buy a bale of long needle pine straw. Long needle are amazing because our needles here, like we have white pines, and the needles here are about that long. Hey, what do you think of my curtain? See? This is to cut off the kitchen. So I can actually feel like I'm here in private, even though I'm never really in private. The whole place is open. And it's certainly not soundproof. Oh yeah, how to prepare for the coronavirus. That's right. This is from another video. I didn't need to tell you about that. So, okay, so you better stock up on water. If you buy bottled water, if you have good tap water, then don't worry about it. But if you have bottled, actually, it's always good to have water stored, because there can be at any time pollution in the system, and you could end up not having water. So you need to have some. I wouldn't store it in plastic bottles, though. I do not think that you should buy plastic bottles. I think you should buy a case of quart canning jars. Think about a quarter case canning. A case. Let's just try saying it. A case of quart canning jars. Buy a case of quart canning jars. I wouldn't buy the pints because they're too small, but you can buy the quarts. And if you're afraid of them turning green or something, the water getting polluted, if you add bleach, you only need to add 10 drops per gallon to make it chlorinated. I've never chlorinated it. I don't have a problem with things that turn green. I mean, I'm not going to drink the whole water when it's green. But as the rain falls, there are particles of algae, I guess, in the air. And so when the water falls and it sits for a while, it gets green algae growing there. It's one of those protections that the earth has to make sure that everywhere has life, right? If you can have life fall from the sky and go to an place where there's nothing growing. But anyway, whatever. I don't know why. So store what you eat and eat what you store. So if you use sugar, buy a huge bag of sugar. If you make bread, do you know how to make bread? Really, you need to make bread. Everybody should make bread. Bread is the easiest thing in the world to make. Make sure you have good yeast. All you need is a little pile of water and as much flour as it'll hold, and a couple tablespoons of yeast. Keep it in the freezer. Always keep it in the freezer. Fleischmann's. Don't buy it off the shelf or in the little packages, because those are always outdated and warm. They're not being kept in the freezer, and so they won't work. So buy frozen yeast, or in those sealed packages. So you just put a pile of water there, put some flour in, mix it up, add your yeast to the flour, mix it up, and it will rise. If you make it thick enough, make a real thick beatable mud. Now at this point, if you want to have sugar in it, you can add sugar or honey, but I would just start with flour and water and mix it up. And then it'll start to bubble. Flour and water and yeast. It'll start to bubble, and when it bubbles, then you add more flour and you stir it. But now you don't stir it like this. You fold it. You don't want to break the whole thing. You want the whole thing to be 1 unit. I do have how to make bread videos on here. The Tassajara bread making. Tassajara is very good. But so the first part is mixing up the sponge. You add more flour, and then you turn it out. You can turn your mixture out onto a big pile of flour. Just pour the whole thing out, and then just put the flour, keep dumping the flour on top of it and sort of squishing it in until you end up with a thing that you pull it toward you, kind of fold it in half, then with the heels of your hands you push down so it locks, it seals it, right? And then you roll it with the heels of your hands so that the crease which was over beside you is now on the top. Then you turn it, you pull it from the side, push down, crease it with your hands, just a little bit, you know, and roll it out. You turn it, that's how you do it. And then when it gets to be solid, and then you let it rise for an hour. And then at that point you can shape it into loaves, or you could just put it on a pizza pan and bake it. You can cut it with a knife, or you can squish it with your fingers so that you're not cutting so many of the grains. But if you can make your own bread, think of how long you can go from going to the store, right? And if you're sick, you shouldn't be eating dairy products. Dairy products, it causes congestion. You'll just make yourself sicker. And honey and lemon equal parts, and sip on it. Very liquidy if it's equal parts, right? My friend is messaging me. So, frozen fruit. In the frozen fruit section, there's all kinds of stuff. Berries, strawberries, blueberries. There's mangoes and black cherries and mixtures of strawberries and other berries. And anyway, pineapple. All that is frozen. You can find all that frozen. Those are a really nice thing when you're sick, to have something cold slide down your throat, walk around the house holding your forehead while you eat them. I see if you have a teacup and a pot, you can just keep refilling it. You don't have to have a big, huge mug. I have to empty out my car. So I have some recipes for Instant Pot stuff. It's amazing if you put lentils or rice as a base, something like that, and then you have your vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and everything. All the vegetables can be found frozen, right? So you can just add a bag of frozen vegetables to your lentils, and you pressure cook and put it on for 8 minutes, or probably less if you want. But anyway, I always use 8 because it takes time to heat up. It pressure cooks for 8 minutes and takes time to cool off. And it's the best thing ever. You can make beans in there, like you can get navy beans, pinto beans. I used to go to the farmer down the road who had beans. There's one with white beans, there's another one with soybeans, and I bought a bag of beans off of them for like $50 for this huge bag, or maybe it was $20. It was a long time ago. Got this huge bag of beans. So you can make beans in your Instant Pot. They only take 20 minutes, right? You should soak them overnight, but it does taste really good. Goodbye, Jennifer. Enjoy your day. Hey, it's 4 hours earlier in BC, 7654. You gotta run at 4 a.m.? More power to you. So I have been setting up my loom. There's certain things that you think that you'll do them in the winter, right? Because in the winter you're sort of stuck in the house if it's winter and you're freezing. I mean, you're freezing outside. But in the summer, for some of you, you would do things inside, right? Because you would have air conditioning on and you have to stay in for 6 months. Not my cup of tea. I don't stay in for 6 months. I go outside and enjoy the weather. I like how blue jays bounce. Hee-hoo, hee-hoo, hee-hoo. Bounce. Hee-hoo, hee-hoo, hee-hoo. Oh, you haven't slept yet. Oh, have a good sleep. Night-night. Yes, my daughter gets off work late sometimes, and then it's a hard day when you have to sleep during the day. I've gotten so I go to bed now when I don't stop eating. If I sit in front of the TV and I eat, and the longer I sit there, the more I can eat. It's okay if it's cucumbers, but if it's cucumbers with hummus, it's 50 calories in every tablespoon of hummus. It's half as much as nuts. I had no idea there was that much. But I think I can make it a lot cheaper, a lot less calories, like cheaper that way. Of course, you can make your hummus too, right? Hummus, you take a can of chickpeas and you blend them up. Now, some chickpeas, not all chickpeas are equal. Some chickpeas are kind of hard and some are really soft. Like the kind they make hummus with in the grocery store are really soft. So you might as well, I've never tried soaking chickpeas and then cooking them. I should do that. Chickpeas are very small when they're, it's also called dal or DAHL with chickpeas. They have these that are little pieces of chickpeas, but they all look like they're little round things, so I don't know how they've done it. But anyway, they look like they're all chickpeas, and they cook a lot quicker. They're called something else, and they're yellow. And they're very small and round, but they only have halves. So look for them go to a Middle Eastern food store. All right, so you need to store salt and sugar and flour if you were into bread, frozen vegetables, frozen fruit, canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned juice. Now, all that said, I don't think I'm not that prepared. I could get, I don't have any apple juice or juices or anything. And as far as face masks go, if you can't breathe, if you can breathe through it, but it's going to catch all the particles that are in the air, that's all you need. So you can make your own face mask. You can take a piece of towel or a washcloth, cut it. You could even cut it like that and then have hooks in it or holes in it so it attaches over your ears so you have your own mask. That's probably a pretty good idea. But I'm not sure that masks are going to be as effective as hand washing because, if somebody with the virus is near you, you'll probably get it. But if you wash your hands, then the surfaces that that they touched, then at least you won't be, you have to wash them often because, it would be interesting to put a little bit of dye on your fingers and then just go through the day and see if you end up with dye all over your face, right? And see where your fingers have gone. Or you could do it with flour. You could put them in powder. And then you can see exactly where your fingers went and all the things you touched in the house. That'd be good if you could do that with children's hands. They usually leave fingerprints everywhere anyway, but then you could see what surfaces they have touched and where the germs are going to be. Now, I personally would take preschoolers and small children. I would take them out of school because they're just going to pass around germs. And if somebody in the school gets it, you can be sure it'll fly through the community pretty quickly. Even though children won't get very badly sick from it. In fact, most people won't get too sick. Not unless you're older, then you'll die. You may die. 3% chance. No, 3% chance? What is the percent chance when you're only looking at over 50 and over 60? Well, anyway. So have I given you enough information on how to prepare for the coronavirus? Wash your hands. Make your own face masks out of terry towels. You can do it 2 layers thick if you think you might be able to still breathe something. And store canned fruits and vegetables. And you can probably get things in cases. Watch when things go on sale. You can buy a case. We used to always buy a case of pineapple for 16 when they were on for 69 cents each. But I don't know if they ever come on sale anymore. And this was many years ago now. I have a hole in my dress. Would you like to see? There's a hole in my dress, dear Nancy, dear Nancy. You can't see it because you have a cup in the way. Hello. Here. These dresses with those gathers, you know, they fall apart on the seams. That is because they probably used pretty cheap thread. This was made in India. It's amazing how we can be in touch with things from other countries so quickly, everywhere. Anyway, so good luck with the coronavirus. Good luck. I was going to go see my son in Vietnam. I really wanted to go see him. Get back from Georgia, and my next thing is like to make a ticket to go to Vietnam. And then there's the coronavirus. Of course, now I suppose you can get a ticket to Vietnam for nothing. But I don't think I want to go. And then my daughter asked if I would like to go to, my daughter-in-law asked if I would like to go to England with her. She's got to go on a business trip. I would love to go to England. So, of course, immediately I said, yes! But wouldn't it be cool if I could come see some of you that are in England? Wouldn't it be neat to know where you guys live and who I could visit? Wouldn't that be amazing? I did that in Holland once. There were 4 people I visited in Holland who I had met through Nancy Today. I get bored so quickly. Now, as far as the coronavirus killing you, if you have to die, I think dying from the flu is probably, I don't know, it's not probably a very bad way to go. I'd rather go by the flu than by bone cancer. I always say, I don't want to be in a old folks' home drooling and thinking I gave up sugar for this. You know, all these things that will increase your longevity. It doesn't necessarily increase your mental capacity, your mental longevity. So dementia, I don't know, I'll have to ask my sister about that. She was a professor of biochemistry and biophysics in San Francisco. She won the Herbert Boyer Distinguished Professor Award from UCSF. Look at her picture. Want to see this little picture she has? She's a really sweet person. Okay, so there's this. This is her fountain of life. She mutated nematodes. Those must be nematodes. She mutated them and they lived twice as long and were vibrant and healthy until they died. Gotta put you back here so you have to turn around because that's where you're leaning. That's your spot. See what I'm looking at while you're doing all that? While you're watching me. I'm doing all this. And see my new curtain? Ta-dum, ta-dum. I like that you can see the stick. I have sticks for this one too. And that one. This one doesn't have a stick. That's because the stick is up here now. Okay, that's it. I'm going to turn you around. So I'm sorry I haven't talked to you for like a month. Desmond got a hold of my stuff and he kept making all these stupid videos. Yelling into the camera. I didn't know he did that. And I had to go and find them all and delete them. AC did that on YouTube too. I mean on Facebook. Oh, no, not really. I like this pot. You know, it's got this lid thing that stays on. A hinge. So you could do this and the hinge, it could open up, could fall like that if you go far enough. This is going to be my everyday teapot now. I like that. I should probably wrap it up in saran wrap every time I finish using it, so it'll stay silver. I wonder when the last time it was used was. I wonder if it was used at like Thanksgiving dinner. It's probably my grandmother's. It's probably used at Thanksgiving dinner in 1982 or 1986. Something like that. Desmond made a picture with a he made a picture of a bowl with a spoon in it, and on the end of the spoon he has a design on the end of his spoon in his picture. Isn't that sweet? He really likes drawing. He draws everything. He draws these Pokemon. It's amazing. There's so many Pokemons and all kind of quality of creatures, but he's been making one after another after another. I have no idea what kind they are. They're all different, and he's very accurate. He's got the colors where they're supposed to be. Hey, you know what I got from Ben's house yesterday? I went and got into the trunk I brought home. That little tiny Christmas tree is in it. But brought home Mom's Christmas tree. Can you believe that? Isn't that pretty? It's a Nova Scotia, or it's this, could have got, no, not Nova Scotia is blue. This is Scotland. My dad went to Glasgow. I think he brought this back. And he brought back a green hat like that and a blue hat. I think I had a blue hat. Hello, hello. You're in Ottawa? Well, isn't that just peachy keen? My husband used to work there. I've heard of Ottawa. I like to say that. NMP. Are you an MP? Are you somebody very, very important who people elected? Are you very well known? You live in Ottawa. Do you have a PhD? One thing about Ottawa, very interesting. There's some towns, like Kitchener, for instance, is a factory town. There's a lot of factory workers. Haha, no, me neither. But Ottawa seems to be a very professional town. You've got all the government employers. Oh, you're taking the kids to school now. Hello, kids. How are you? Did you get some snow? Yes? Is it going to snow today? You still have a school day? Yeah. Eh? Well, I think that I would like to suggest that I can keep Maya, who's in preschool or kindergarten or junior, not even junior, she's in daycare. I was thinking that if she didn't, I mean, she loves it, and they probably are very stimulated, and it's probably good for them to go. But if you want to keep from getting sick, those children bring home all the germs because they don't wash their hands, and they touch everything, and everybody, all the other kids touch everything, and they get it from touching things. Not necessarily from what's in the air, however. But you know, Desmond and Maya have both sneezed and coughed in my face, but I immediately go and I drink honey and lemon, or in this case, ginger and honey, and then I don't get sick. Isn't that great? Okay, well, I think I've done enough talking about coronavirus and getting ready for it. No more gatherings. That's all right. We got YouTube. I'll try and be better on making live videos. Excuse me. I mean, I've been drinking. I drank a whole pot of Very nice. I'm learning the art of making tea, of having tea. But I like them. I mean, I'd rather use powdered ginger or scrape ginger from the chunk. Just use a knife and hit it a few times. Hit it that way, and hit it this way, and then slice it off. And then you don't need to get a cutting board dirty and do all that. And if you don't want to hit it like that, so you're going to cut yourself, but you know, you can just carefully go across into it a little bit. So I had snow blown in the wilderness out here, and they got 4 inches of snow. I was in southern Ontario with Mary Jane, and we never even made a video. And I was saving up all my data to make a video on the last day of the month. Never did. I wonder how much data I didn't use. I got my data up to 7 gigs. I had 2 gigs or 4 gigs. Or 2 gigs. Anyway, I got a lot more gigs for $20, which is pretty all right, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't $20. Maybe it was less. Okay, so I have to go out there and I have to empty the car. I'm going to help somebody move. So I'm going to empty my car. Yesterday I went to Ben's and I emptied all of the stuff that I'd sorted and I had put away into the car. That's all gone to be stored. Needs to all go down in his basement, which it did not go down in yet. And and then I brought all these books home from when I went to Value Village with Mary Jane. Books on everything, really good books. And I brought a bookcase home from my mother's. You know, I think I'm going to fill that bookcase there with books. I'd rather see books over there than shoes. And since the family moved out, and this chest is probably going to go because that's their stuff. Anyway, I guess I rattled on long enough. So, hello, goodbye. You can do this at home. Results may differ. But do really stock up on food storage. See what's on sale. Stock up on stuff that's on sale. And in a few weeks, you'll have everything you need. Just buy a few extra. Like if you can afford $20 extra and get a case of whatever on sale. Try to avoid milk products because they won't help you get better. They will just, you know. How can you type when you're driving? Can you just say it and she'll just type it? All right. You know what I want to also do? I've got this. I'll show you another video. Okay, let's go do a different one. Goodbye. That's going to be on weaving. I'm going to make a rush rug. It's going to be fun. Want to see? Let's go get that. Hey, come on. Where's the turn off button? Cheers. Oh, you just pulled in to drop them off. Are they little or big? I guess I have to go now. You can tell me on the next video.